Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and this is Medicine Walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So we are dealing with a whole lot. I mean, depending on where you live, but if you're anywhere in the United States, there is a lot going on. And please, more than anything, be safe. Both on, we're dealing with not only the virus, but we're also dealing with civil unrest and things that have been kind of boiling up underneath the surface and have now burst out. And we're having to face them and deal with them. And in some ways, it's like, wow, here we are in 1967 and 68 again. So, like I said, first off, please, everyone be safe. And what we're going to be looking at... Oh, hey, Luna. Come on. She just kind of wandered in the room and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But what we're going to be talking about today is empathy and activism, because this is a tremendously volatile time, and it's also a very polarizing time. And there's a lot of different viewpoints. There's a lot of things happening. And right now, people are making themselves heard and protests from one end of this country to the other. So we want to be involved. And, these are very difficult times for empaths because the emotions and energies are running tremendously strong. So want to get involved, want to be a part of things, want to speak out and support the causes that you support. So do it. And understand that when we get into, these situations, when we take a stand and march with people, the energy that we are taking in may be overwhelming. So this is more than any other time, the time to really center and really ground. It's even more important for us to go into these situations grounded. I definitely would not say not to go out and protest if you feel called. And in fact, this weekend, Saturday, I won't be doing a video because I will be at a protest on Saturday. And Sunday, I will probably be resting from it. It is important that we remain grounded, because those moments are the ones where we need to be in our free choice. And sometimes empathy can take away our choice. Sometimes we can get swept up in what's going on so much that we lose the clarity, we lose that moment, and we can very easy for us to get caught up in like mob mentality. And there's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of, just distrust. So we need to be, more than anyone, we need to be clear on why we're there, what we're focused on, and more than anything, to not lose track of who we are, to not get swept up in, the anger that's around us, so that it removes our ability to choose. It's not impossible. In fact, this is a tremendously good opportunity to practice the skills that we've been talking about, and using whatever tools you use, because the last thing you want to lose is your autonomy. The last thing you want to lose is your ability to have clarity and to be able to choose. These situations can be very dynamic. These situations can, go from peaceful to not peaceful, as unfortunately we've seen. And it can become very combative. It can be very easy to get caught up in, what the hive mind of that particular group is focused on. And unfortunately, this can take us into some very bad places. The good part is that by holding your own, by staying true to yourself, by remembering who you are and what you're fighting, that you are fighting injustice, you are fighting inequality. It's not about hate. It is about what is right and what is just. And that is between you, your heart, and whatever you envision, spirit, God, whoever to be. That is about your relationship with that being and your spiritual base and your spiritual foundation. It is, it's hard. It really is. And I have had to work really hard to stay in that centered place. But remember, empaths can transmit. And when you are in your centered and grounded place, that is what you can spread to the people around you so that they don't lose sight of what they're there for, of their ability to stand in a good way, in a positive way. If it is a peaceful protest, to remain peaceful, to not allow the emotions of others to trigger some sort of a group dynamic that may or may not be of service and can lead to people getting hurt. So remember, you go into that situation, you breathe, you carry a stone with you, you do whatever it is that you need to do. Find your grounding point, find your eye of the storm, because it's in these situations that we need it most. We need clarity because a lot of people around us are not going to have it. And there's a lot of people who are empathic who don't know that they're empathic and can very easily get swayed and caught up in an angry response that isn't going to ultimately serve. And people have to choose for themselves how they want to approach this. And for some, it is more revolutionary, more volatile. They have that much anger and they feel that's the only way they're going to be heard. I will not judge anyone's way of dealing with this because this is new. This is something that, for the most part, most people, except for our elders, and I can only imagine the pain of those who lived through it once and are watching it again, thinking we shouldn't be living through this again, but we are. But, those honored elders aside, for the most of the rest of the population who are involved in this is something that they've never dealt with in their lifetimes. And when you're dealing with someone who is angry, what they feel needs to be honored, and it does not mean that you have to go into that same level of angry. If you want to, if it's your choice, if that's what you feel called to, if that's how you feel you want to work this, that is your choice. Just make sure that when you go into these situations, you are solidly in who you are. These are not the moments to allow your empathy to take away your ability to say, this is how I want to act, as opposed to becoming reactive. As I said, you can be able to help a situation. You can be able to extend your eye of the storm, that space of clarity. You can actually be able to extend that to others. And that is a tremendously powerful thing. That's where leaders step up. Empaths make awesome leaders because they can be able to feel the energy of what's going on and be able to adapt it to focus everything into a positive direction. Don't forget who you are just because there's a lot of emotion around you. Keep it separate. Don't lose your choice. As I said, I will be involved in a march on Saturday. And I would appreciate any good thoughts that you might have to, send out our way in San Jose, California, wherever you are. And if wherever you are, there are protests and there are things happening, good luck. And know that I am praying for you. Know that I am sending good thoughts to you as well. Please stay safe. And we need to make our voices heard. Now is the time for our voices to be heard. And it is also a time to be in choice, to be conscious. It's so easy to fall into unconsciousness when you're caught in the undertow. There's an energetic undertow, an emotional undertow, and it can catch you and drag you under if you are not conscious of it. Whatever you choose to do, however you choose to hold this, however you choose to respond, make it your choice and not a reflex. Have it be an action you choose, that even after the fact you can say, yep, that's what I chose. Because you will live with the consequences of it. So consider those carefully. And keep in mind that the person you walk into that situation as should be the same person that walks out. You don't need to become something different. You don't need to become a part of the hive mind in order to fight the injustice, in order to stand, with those who want to see things change. This change has been long overdue, and this fight has been fought for, God, a couple of 100 years now, and we're still fighting it, and we're still having to manage it. Yeah, it is easy to become angry. It is easy to lose faith. It is easy to distrust. And each person has to process what they feel within themselves. And it is not your job to process what is in someone else. Stay in your place of certainty, stay in your center, and, utilize whatever grounding technique works for you. If it's that you're going to meditate, and Sam just pushed the door open and came in. I live in a very peaceful place, and yet there are marches here up on our mountain, and they have been peaceful marches. And that doesn't mean that they're not effective. There's a whole spectrum, and those who believe that they need to respond in a particular way, as I said, I will not judge anyone for how they choose, because that's coming from them. It doesn't have to be what comes from me. So if you choose to participate, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, being empathic is no reason not to take a stand. It just means that we need to take responsibility for the stand we take and make sure that it is what we choose, that it is not just reflecting the intensity of those around us. It's hard. It really is. But you can do this. This is your time to step up. And, for those who can't, or who, really are not in a space where they can do that, because we are still dealing with a pandemic. So that makes it even more complicated. So for those who are have and some sort of a health issue that makes them vulnerable, please add your voice in another way. We can add our voices by contacting our Congress people. We can add our voices by, supporting, different organizations. And we can add our voices by marching and going out into the protests. So whatever works for you, just be in your place about it. You have the opportunity, and you have a very special, special talent that can allow you to go in and help motivate people to stay in their core and to remember their center. And we also have a vulnerability that means that we can lose track of our own. But I know you can. I know however you choose to hold this, hold it for yourself. Step up and be counted, and make sure that your voice is heard if you want it to be heard. Just always stay true to yourself, and make sure, as I said, that the person who walks into that protest is the same person who walks out. Maybe a little bit wiser, maybe a little bit more grounded, but you're you. Don't lose track of you because of what's going on around you. So, thank you for joining me. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can reach me through my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen. You can also follow me on Twitter, and you can leave comments for this video. And if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, you can leave comments there as well. And if you appreciated this video, please press like. And if you appreciate this channel, please consider subscribing. So, again, thank you for joining me. Be safe. Be heard. Be yourself. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you and take care. Bye.